It is a story told at millions of dinner tables across the United States. A proud family legend passed down from generation to generation. Look at an old, faded black and white photograph of your great-grandmother. Your family points to her high cheekbones. They point to her jet black hair and olive skin. And then they tell you the secret. She was a Cherokee princess. For decades, countless Americans have proudly claimed Native American ancestry based entirely on this family lore. But then, the era of commercial DNA testing arrived. Millions of people spit into a tube, mailed it to a lab, and waited to see their indigenous heritage confirmed. Instead, the results delivered a biological shockwave. For the vast majority of these families, the results came back showing 100% European ancestry, 0% Native American, no Cherokee, no indigenous blood at all. How could so many families share the exact same lie? Today, we are sequencing the greatest genealogical myth in American history. We will expose the illusion of the Cherokee Princess, reveal the dark historical motivations behind the lie, and uncover the shocking, hidden bloodlines your ancestors were actually trying to protect. You are watching Lost Origins. The Cherokee Princess illusion. To understand the myth, we first have to dismantle the terminology. The most common variation of this family legend is the claim of being descended from a Cherokee princess. But historically and culturally, this concept is completely fabricated. The Cherokee Nation, like almost all indigenous tribes in North America, did not have a monarchy. They did not have kings, queens, or princesses. They were a complex, egalitarian society. The romanticized image of the native princess was entirely a European invention. It was created by white settlers who wanted to view Native Americans through the lens of European royalty. But why the Cherokee? Why not the Navajo, the Sioux, or the Apache? In the 19th century, the Cherokee were considered by the U.S. government to be one of the 5 civilized tribes. They had adopted European farming methods, clothing, and even a written constitution. For white Americans, claiming Cherokee blood was seen as the most acceptable and civilized way to have an indigenous ancestor. But biology does not care about family legends. The DNA verdict. When people receive a 0% Native American DNA result, the immediate reaction is usually denial. They claim the DNA test is flawed, or that the indigenous blood simply washed out over the generations. But geneticists will tell you that is not how DNA works. Native American DNA is incredibly distinct. Thousands of years ago, the ancestors of all indigenous Americans crossed the Bering Land Bridge from Siberia. Because of this massive, isolated migration, Native American DNA carries highly specific, easily identifiable genetic markers. If your great-great-grandmother was truly 100% Cherokee, you would absolutely carry a measurable percentage of Native American DNA today. It does not simply vanish without a trace. If the test says 0, the truth is absolute. Your ancestor was not Native American. So, if they weren't indigenous, who were they? And why did they lie? Claiming the land, the settler's shield. The creation of this myth was not a harmless mistake. In many cases, it was a calculated survival tactic, born out of the brutal realities of American history. In the aftermath of the Civil War and the devastating forced removal of Native Americans, known as the Trail of Tears, white settlers flooded into the newly emptied lands of the American South and Midwest. To alleviate the deep collective guilt of colonialism and to legitimize their claim to the land, many white families began to reinvent their own history. By claiming that they had a Cherokee ancestor, these settlers were legally and psychologically stating, "We belong here. We are native to this land too." It was a way to claim the romance and tragedy of the Native American spirit without actually having to suffer the horrific realities of being an indigenous person in 19th century America. But there is an even darker, more desperate reason this lie was told, and it hides within the DNA of the American South. The hidden bloodline, the racial cover-up. When DNA tests shatter the Cherokee myth, they often reveal something else entirely. Many Americans who believed they were part Native American find out that they actually carry a small but undeniable percentage of sub-Saharan African DNA. This is the ultimate plot twist of the American family tree. In the Jim Crow South, the United States operated under strict, brutal segregation laws. The one-drop rule meant that if you had even a single drop of African blood, you were legally classified as black. You would lose your rights, your property, and potentially your life. Many families of mixed European and African descent, or groups like the Melungeons, had olive skin and dark hair. To survive in a fiercely racist society, they had to hide their African heritage. They looked at their dark-haired, dark-skinned grandmother and told their neighbors, and eventually their own children, she is not black, she is a Cherokee Indian. In the racial hierarchy of the time, being part Native American was tolerated, even romanticized. Being part African was dangerous. The Cherokee grandmother was not a lie of vanity, it was a biological shield, a desperate attempt to protect their children from the horrors of systemic racism. Rewriting the family tree. If your DNA test recently erased your Native American heritage, do not be angry at your ancestors. The story of the Cherokee Princess was a phantom, but the real story it covered up is a profound testament to American history. Your ancestors may have been desperate settlers trying to forge an identity in a new world, or they may have been marginalized people using a fake indigenous identity to escape the brutal realities of racism and survive another generation. Your DNA does not lie. The dark hair and high cheekbones were real, but they did not come from the Cherokee Nation. They came from the complex, messy, and deeply human survival tactics of the American past. What did your DNA test reveal? Did you grow up with the Cherokee grandmother myth, only to find a completely different bloodline hiding in your genome? Let us know in the comments below. If you want to uncover more hidden genetic secrets, make sure to watch our documentary on the Black Irish Enigma right here on the screen. I am Thomas, and this is Lost Origins. Keep exploring, because the truth is never truly lost. It is just waiting to be sequenced.